Buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Margarita Pasquini. Estoy muy contenta de verlos todos aquí con nosotros para una live session de The Student World. Bienvenidos. Quiero antes que nada darle las gracias al profesor Tomás Martín para permitirnos de organizar otra sesión pues con el colegio. Y la verdad que ustedes son muy afortunados por por estudiar en un colegio que les permite estas oportunidades, porque la internacionalización es algo sumamente importante en ese momento, en ese momento histórico, en ese momento de su carrera también. The Student World es una unidad de una empresa más grande que se llama FPP. Organizamos eventos educativos en los 5 continentes. Después llevamos ya 20 años en hacerlo. Y el tema que vamos a tratar hoy es su futuro. Estudiar en el extranjero podría ser una de las opciones. Yo no quiero, pues mi objetivo de esa sesión no es convencerlos a que el estudio en el extranjero sea la única opción o la opción mejor. Quiero nada más como plantar semillas para que empiecen a evaluarlo, que puedan ver si es para ustedes o si no es para ustedes, ¿sí? Yo no quiero que esa sesión sea un monólogo, porque yo estoy bien convencida del valor del estudio en el extranjero. Yo, entre cursos de idioma, intercambio académico, cursos profesionales y no sé qué, yo estudié en más de 7 países y trabajo en la educación internacional. Llevo ya 11 años trabajando en la educación internacional. Soy la responsable de los eventos educativos en toda Europa continental y también trabajo en una universidad. Entonces, digamos que toda mi vida profesional, pues la he pasado en el sector de la higher education. Entonces, yo estoy muy convencida del valor de eso, pero pues no estamos hablando de mí, entonces quiero realmente que sea muy interactiva. Entonces, quiero empezar con una pregunta. Se la voy a poner aquí en el polls. ¿Han tenido algún tipo de experiencia en el extranjero? ¿Sí o no? Ay, espera, porque no me salió. Ándale. Start. Ven una pregunta, si han tenido algún tipo de experiencia, si me pueden contestar ahí para tener una idea de, bueno, irse de vacaciones con los papás no vale. Entonces, como summer camp, cursos de idioma, internship, cualquier tipo de experiencia, voluntariado. Muy bien. Me parece que la mayoría de ustedes pues ya han tenido experiencia en el extranjero. Muy bien, me da mucho gusto leerlo. Bueno, la sesión de hoy la vamos a estructurar en esta forma. Vamos a tener una introducción conmigo y luego voy a pasar el micrófono a mi colega Simon Rock de St. Mary University, que les va a hablar del sistema educativo pues, en Reino Unido y pues de su universidad, de St. Mary. Bueno, antes de empezar, quiero preguntarle otra cosa. ¿Por qué creen que estudiar en el extranjero sea positivo? O sea, ¿qué aspecto positivo, qué valor positivo les darían? Me lo pueden escribir en el chat. ¿Cuáles son los factores positivos, según ustedes, de estudiar en el extranjero? Cualquier cosa. No quiero que sean tímidos. Yo estoy hablando en un idioma que no es el mío y ya, pues, me imagino que lo hayan notado. Entonces, no hay preguntas tontas, no hay respuestas tontas. Entonces, por favor, quiero realmente que sean muy activos. Conocer a gente. Muy bien, Alba, gracias. Aprender otra cultura es excelente. Estar en un ambiente desconocido, perfecto. Abrir la mente a una nueva forma de pensar, nueva cultura, aprender idiomas, súper. Wow, relación con mucha gente, emigrar, perfecto, a nivel cultural, más experiencia internacional, te abre más puerta, perfecto. Esas son una de las cosas que puse yo, te abre las puertas, muy bien, sí, sigan escribiendo. Aquí son 5 razones que puse. Travel the world, que son las que pusieron también ustedes. Develop valuable career skills, make new friends, broaden your world, experience personal growth. ¿Cómo puedo saber qué universidad es para mí? Tienen que preguntarse. Yo le puse 4 preguntas. 3 son preguntas preguntas personales. Y una pregunta que no depende únicamente de ustedes. Las primeras 3 dependen de ustedes. ¿En qué soy bueno? Tienen que preguntarse, ¿en qué materias soy bueno? ¿Qué carrera me atrae? Si ustedes son buenos en todas las materias, entonces, ¿qué carrera me atrae más? ¿Cubro el perfil requerido? Tendrán que buscar e investigar y ver si efectivamente, si quieren ser doctores, ingenieros o lo que sea, pues efectivamente tienen tienen el perfil. Y el cuarto punto es qué competencias se necesitan en el mercado laboral. Eso no depende de ustedes. ¿Cómo vamos a saberlo? Les puse una lista de World Economic Forum. Cada año el World Economic Forum prepara un trabajo sobre un proyecto para compartirnos cuáles son las listas de competencias fundamentales en el mercado laboral. Entonces, pensamiento crítico, innovación, aprendizaje activo, estrategias de aprendizaje, diseño tecnológico, programación, razonamiento, solución de problemas y conceptualización, liderazgo, influencia social, resolución de problemas complejos, resiliencia, tolerancia, estrés, flexibilidad, inteligencia emocional, que tiene que ser pues en otra liga, pensamiento crítico, análisis, y luego, bueno, los últimos 2, no sé por qué lo repetimos, pero son iguales. ¿Hay algo que notan de esta lista? ¿No notan nada de la lista? Bueno, yo una cosa quiero que noten, que aparte de diseño tecnológico y programación, todas las otras competencias no pertenecen a una carrera en específico, son competencias transversales, que estudien negocios, relaciones internacionales, letras, matemática, pues no importa, porque esas son competencias transversales. Y entonces es muy importante que se acuerden de eso. O sea, que la mayoría de las competencias que el mercado laboral va a requerir son competencias transversales. Bueno, ¿cuáles son los los criterios que puedo tomar en cuenta? Destino, o sea, el país. Hay personas que son decimos, country driven. Entonces, yo quiero estudiar en el Reino Unido, sí o sí. ¿Dónde y qué? No importa. Hay personas que son más career driven, o sea, carrera y especialización. ¿Qué quiero estudiar? El programa, quiero estudiar medicina, que sea en España, en Alemania o en Estados Unidos, no importa, pero quiero estudiar medicina. Yo les recomiendo que todos estos criterios sean mezclados, o sea, que no necesariamente un criterio gane a los otros, ¿sí? Porque es importante tener muchos factores en cuenta, tomar muchos factores en cuenta. Entonces, destino, carreras y especializaciones, rankings. Rankings obviamente es una lista de todas las universidades. El ranking más conocido en el mundo es QS. Cada año publica una lista de las universidades pues rankeada por unos criterios que pueden ser calidad académica, investigación, satisfacción de los estudiantes, un criterio, o sea, que no tomen el ranking como único criterio, obviamente. Tipo de experiencia, campus universitario y ciudad universitaria. No sé si ven la diferencia. El campus universitario, por ejemplo, el súper típico campus de Estados Unidos, en el medio de la nada, es una ciudad. Entonces tienen todas las actividades ahí. Cualquier tipo de actividad, deporte, pueden trabajar ahí, hay restaurantes, tiendas. Entonces viven el campus. La ciudad universitaria, por ejemplo, creo que Simon nos dirá que también St. Mary puede ser considerada una ciudad universitaria porque es en las grandes ciudades como Londres, como Milán, como Nueva York, por ejemplo, la ciudad misma es tu campus, porque obviamente la ciudad se integra con la universidad. Sí, espero que esté clara la diferencia. El tamaño de la universidad también es muy importante, no solo por el tamaño por sí, obviamente, pero porque refleja una experiencia muy distinta. Una universidad pequeña es pues una universidad donde pues quizás los conozcan a todos, ¿no? Y entonces depende muchísimo gracias Hugo, depende muchísimo de la experiencia que quieran vivir, porque no existe una universidad perfecta, una universidad mejor para todo el mundo. Tienen que preguntarse qué quieren vivir a nivel de experiencia. Y hay personas que viven muy bien en ciudades grandes, personas que viven muy bien en ciudades pequeñas, y no quiere decir que una experiencia sea mejor de la otra, pero uno se tiene que conocer para poder contestar esta pregunta, ¿sí? También hay universidades especializada. Por ejemplo, los politécnicos, en la mayoría de los casos, son universidades con puros ingenieros y arquitectos o designers. Y entonces también uno se tiene que preguntar, ¿a mí me gustaría estar en una universidad donde solo hay personas que estudian mi carrera o carreras cercanas? O pues me gustaría más una comprehensive university, así le decimos, como una universidad grande con 150 carreras y yo puedo estar viviendo esa experiencia académica con personas que y compartir con ellas pues experiencia académica muy distinta, muy distintas. Otro criterio es employability. O sea, la universidad me garantiza, bueno, garantizar nadie puede garantizar, pero qué tipo de employability, o sea, qué tipo de nivel de empleo, qué porcentaje de empleo tienen los alumnos que salen de ahí. Eso es también muy importante. Esas son dos cosas que quería compartirles. El QS Ranking que le estaba mencionando publicó los resultados del 2020 hace un par de semanas, yo creo. Y no hay ninguna universidad en la española en las primeras 100 ranqueadas y solo 12 en las primeras 500. No quiere necesariamente decir que no hay universidades buenas en España, obviamente, pero yo les puse esta información para que se den cuenta que hay muchísimas universidades más en el mundo y que la calidad académica no solo es la de pues su propio país, ¿sí? Y qué más. También quería comentarle otra cosa. Los programas en casi todas las universidades hoy en día son en inglés en casi todos los países. Entonces no tienen necesariamente que conocer, qué sé yo, francés para estudiar en Francia, porque las carreras pueden ser en inglés. Obviamente, si se mudan a otro país, sí, Sara, vamos a enviar la presentación. Si se mudan a otro país, es importante que aprendan otro idioma para poder convivir con la gente, pero no es únicamente importante para estudiar en otro idioma. Aquí les puse los destinos principales de los estudiantes españoles. ¿Dónde se fueron? Pues estos datos son de la UNESCO 2020, pero se refieren a 2018, si no me equivoco. Entonces, les puse los 10 destinos principales. No quiere decir, obviamente, que uno pueda escoger otro destino. Esos son nada más donde se fueron los 40,000 alumnos que decidieron de estudiar en el extranjero. Entonces, vemos Reino Unido, Estados Unidos, Francia, Alemania, Países Bajos, Polonia, Dinamarca, Suiza, Italia y Portugal. ¿Cuáles son los beneficios de internacionalizar tu camino académico? Eso es algo que ya vimos al mero principio de la presentación, ¿verdad? Y entonces, personal, es una forma de fortalecer su personalidad. Tendrán amigos nuevos internacionales y obviamente van a vivir una vida muy distinta en otro país. Académico, obviamente hay excelentes universidades pues afuera de nuestro país, otros estilos de enseñanza y también experimentar otra forma de estudio. Y profesional porque pues a nivel de employability, pues hay o sea, hay datos que demuestran que las personas que han estudiado en el extranjero o que tienen una experiencia internacional terminan ganando más. Y obviamente van a tener una red internacional de profesionistas, estarán aprendiendo otro idioma y la verdad que yo veo una carrera internacional, o sea, los primeros 3 o 4 años de undergrad en el extranjero como el primer paso para una carrera muy, muy internacional, ¿sí? Entonces no quiero que vean ese primer paso como, es un primer paso, no quiero que lo vean como el objetivo final de la vida, ¿verdad? Es un pedacito pequeño de su vida. Ahora ustedes tienen, ¿cuánto? 15, 16 años, ¿verdad? Entonces, 4 años o 3 años parece muchísimo porque es casi un cuarto de su vida. Pero bueno, ya cuando tendrán como 50 o lo que sea, o 40, 3 o 4 años, será un pedacito muy chiquitito de su experiencia. Esta última slide la puse porque son como factores más prácticos, entonces ahora no tendrán que considerarlo necesariamente ahora, pero bueno, quiero compartirlo igual porque me parece interesante. Tendrán que checar la documentación, entonces, aparte la visa, la cuestión de los certificados de idioma, por ejemplo, quieren estudiar en otro país, se necesitan TOEFL, IELTS o lo que sea, tendrán que verificar cuándo hacerlo, cómo hacerlo, qué nivel, y para eso uno necesita tiempo. Entonces, comenzar con antelación es fundamental. Ustedes tienen, la fuerza de ustedes es el tiempo, porque tienen tiempo de planear, de pensarlo. Entonces, don't waste time. Eso es súper, súper importante. Cumplir con las fechas, porque si uno decide como last minute de aplicar a una universidad en el extranjero, puede ser que no lo acepten, pues puede ser que el application process ya se ha terminado. Entonces, tomen en cuenta que hay universidades que te piden inscribirte un año antes que la universidad empiece. Eso tienen que tomarlo en cuenta. No lo tomen en personal, no lo tomen personal. La mayoría de los estudiantes que quieren estudiar en el extranjero envían muchas candidaturas a muchas universidades diferentes en varios países. Entonces, no se enfoquen en una sola opción y si esa no va, soy un fracaso. No, eso no es una actitud correcta. La verdad que hay muchas opciones y si no va una, ir a la otra, ¿sí? La inversión de dinero, de tiempo, de energía que tienen que hacer es mucha, lo sabemos, pero es muy importante. Tienen que considerar y comparar costos, tanto de matrícula como de vida, porque hay universidades, por ejemplo, gratuita. Tuve una presentación con una colega de Dinamarca y decía, pues la universidad es gratuita, pero la vida es muy cara. Entonces tienen que balancear los costos de la matrícula, de inscripción y de la vida. También hay universidades que ofrecen becas, hay universidades que te permiten trabajar un campus, entonces también hay que considerar varias cosas. También otra cosa que les recomiendo considerar es cuánto se pueden quedar después de graduarse en ese país. Entonces, ¿me van a echar? El día que me gradúe me echan o me puedo quedar un año, 2 años trabajar, por ejemplo, o hacer otro tipo de experiencia. Eso también tienen que tomarlo en cuenta. Y ultimísima cosa, si ya, yo digo, estudiar en el extranjero es un valor, para mí es un valor inmenso. Si ya saben que quieren pues que quieren hacer una profesión o sea, que es muy difícil convertir de un país al otro, entonces probablemente no es la opción mejor. ¿Sí? Por ejemplo, en Italia, no sé cómo funciona exactamente en España, por ejemplo, en Italia nosotros tenemos una profesión que es comercialista, que es, voy a checar cómo se dice en español y se lo comento, pero si uno quiere ser una profesión tan específica, entonces y sabes que en otro país la estructura y la preparación es totalmente diferente y saben que quieren regresar a su propio país para hacerlo, pues en este caso, pues estudiar en el extranjero puede ser, no puede, probablemente no es la opción mejor. En todos los otros casos, me gustaría que lo contemplaran, que lo tomaran en cuenta. Bueno, ya mi parte terminó, entonces paso el micrófono a Simon.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Simon. I am the regional manager for the EU at St. Mary's University in London. So I work in the international department at St. Mary's. So myself and my colleagues, we are part of a department that are there really just to support students coming to the university from other countries. So we support students before they arrive at the university. We support them when they are in the university. That could be helping to arrange free English language classes, or it could be organizing activities and looking after their experience at the university. And we also manage international partnerships. St. Mary's is a very European university. We have a large number of European students and staff, and we have a large number of partnerships in Europe and many partnerships outside Europe as well. So our students may go and spend one semester or 1 year or do a summer school at one of our partner universities, and we will help to arrange joint activities such as research. So the international department at a British university, I would say this, but I think it's a very important part of life at the university. We help to create diversity. It really enriches the experience of our students and what it's like to study at the university. And we provide that really important support. So every major British university will have an international department, and it will have staff who are there to support you. They may have representatives in your country, and they may work closely with your school or other schools. So there are lots of different places you can go to if you do need help and you're interested in studying there. So we are there to support with really any questions that you have about living and studying with us and in the UK generally. So just some of the things that I talk to students a lot about are the courses. So I can explain to them different things about the course, how it is taught and studied. And if it gets really detailed, then I might arrange for them to speak to one of the tutors on that course. I do help students to understand the applications process and what sources of funding they might be able to get and our scholarships. I will also explain to them about, what our entry requirements are and what they mean for certain courses. We do require sometimes extra English language qualifications, usually not for students doing the International Baccalaureate. And then we can help with other things about what it's like to live and study with us. That could be accommodation, talking about the Students' Union and what the social life is like at the university. So if you are interested in a university, I would say the first person to speak to is the person at the international department who looks after Spain and the European Union countries. So what is it like to actually study in the UK? Usually, if you're getting your first degree in the UK, it would be a bachelor's degree. I say usually. There are many different types of degrees in the UK. Some are full bachelor's degrees, which you would usually get over 3 years. But there are degrees which are maybe just the same level as the first 2 years or longer. There are lots of different types of qualifications out there. If you're not sure, speak to the university. But here I've listed some of the common ones that you'll probably see quite a lot. A Bachelor of Arts is a BA, is a very common degree. Many, many different universities will have many different BA degrees. And then the other very common one is the BSc, the Bachelor of Science. So for BA, you may see that for subjects such as history, possibly even politics and international relations. BSc, you would see that for subjects such as maybe mathematics or science. But sometimes you might see BA and BSc for the same type of subject. You may see a business degree that is a BA at one university and a BSc at another university. Usually, I would say that doesn't really matter a lot. For subjects like business, the important thing is that you're getting a bachelor's degree. And those differences don't really change what you're going to do in the classroom. But it is worth checking. For subjects such as geography, there could be a strong difference between a BA and a BSc, and I have seen universities that offer both. So if you're not sure, always ask. You may see law degrees at a university. Now, if it's an LLB, that means it is a qualifying law degree. So that is designed for that student to pass the exams, the professional exams, to become a lawyer in the UK. You may see law degrees which are not an LLB. They are a BA. So there is a reason why the university has done this, and it's usually for students who need to know the law, but for a different type of career path. And then you will see very professional or very specialist qualifications, things like the B.Eng, the B.Med.Sci. These are all different types of bachelor's degrees, but they're very specialist for that subject. And there's many more than the ones that I've put on this list. This is just to give you an idea of what these degrees look like. And you'll see all of these, say in brackets, it's a short version of the word honours. This is to do with the credits that you get from a UK university. Now, most degrees are degrees with honours. So it's very rare now for students not to get a bachelor's degree without honours. We've just kept the name. And in the UK, these degrees are usually very focused. If you sign up to do maybe a biology degree or a business degree, that will be a single honours. So you will be studying one subject and you will only take classes from that subject area. If you're doing biology, you probably won't take classes from, say, mathematics or history. And if you're doing business, you will be taking the business classes. Now, some universities will let you do what's called a joint honors. So that means they will let you do 2 subjects together, but it will be usually the same number of credits. So that would mean you would do maybe half your credits in one department or school, and then half your credits in a different department or school. Sometimes you could do major minor, where you do more credits from one school and less credits from another. When you're thinking about matching subjects together, it can be very tempting if you really can't decide, like, oh, I really enjoy this, but I really enjoy that. It can be a difficult decision. Think carefully about what type of career you want afterwards and talk to the university. A popular joint honors at St. Mary's is business with psychology. But if you do psychology and business half and half, it can be very difficult to have a career in psychology because the master's degrees that universities offer need a lot of psychology for you to go on to do them. If you only did half the classes, they may say, sorry, you're not actually qualified. And for psychology, you would need to have an accredited degree that's recognized by the British Psychological Society. And if you don't get that, it can be harder to get it later. So always check, always speak to the university. And if you're not sure about your career, that's fine, but they can talk to you more about the different options available to you. So I mentioned that university degrees in the UK are usually 3 years. They can be shorter or they can be longer. I am seeing more and more there are 2-year degrees in the UK. Now, you do exactly the same number of credits. It is a full bachelor's degree, and students ask me questions. They're worried. Is this a real degree? Will employers recognize this? Yes, you are doing more work in 2 years to finish sooner. Usually, our students will arrive in September, maybe October, and then they will finish that academic year in May. We have a small number of 2-year degrees, and those students, they don't go home in May, they stay until July, and they study quite intensively over that summer period, doing more credits, so they will finish exactly the same number, but just in 2 years. It's not for everybody, but some students really, really like it and benefit from that. Your degree could also be longer. And it's becoming more common now in the UK. You'll go to the university for your first year as normal, then your second year, but then your third year will be different. That could be a year doing a work placement or internship, or it could be a year studying in another country, especially for languages. If you want to study a language in the UK, usually it has to be a 4-year degree, and you have to spend 1 full year in a country which speaks that language, developing and practicing your ability. And then for these degrees, you will usually come back and finish that year 3, but for you, it would be year 4. At St. Mary's, we don't offer any 4-year degrees at the moment. We don't teach languages. Well, we teach languages as extra courses. We don't teach language degrees. And we do work placements, but we try to make it part of the 3 years. So look carefully at how work placements work when you're thinking about what to study. And there are some degrees which are longer than 4 years. You could, for example, do a business and a language degree, and the university may let you do a full year working in that other country, or they may let you do an extra year on top of that. So what is it like to study in the UK? It can be very different to studying in school, and how you are taught and how the university assesses you, it's not very traditional anymore. Universities have tried to modernize a lot. Exams are becoming less common at university. They want you to study and they want to assess you in a way that will set you up for a career and what it's going to be like for you in the future. So at St. Mary's, we don't offer many exams, and we have been reducing them even more this year. Usually, we only give you an exam if there is some kind of professional certificate or recognition, which means that we have to give you an exam. A normal subject such as history or business, even some of the science subjects, you may have a lecture, and then you may have a seminar to work through things with a smaller group of students. You will have to do a lot of independent work before your lectures and your seminars. You will have to do reading and research to prepare for them. And then you will have assignments, and you'll be spending lots of time in the library or in laboratories answering those assignments or working on projects. Some of your projects you will do alone, some you will do with other students, and sometimes those projects could be with a real company or organization that the university has a partnership with, or that you organized yourselves. If you're thinking about work placements, universities can sometimes arrange those work placements for you, but every university will agree that they like it when students want to organize these themselves. It shows that you're independent, and it's a really useful skill to develop because university careers departments can help you, but they can't do everything for you. So they really want to help you to develop those skills so that you can negotiate and talk confidently to businesses to get results. So if you want to do work placements, that's something I really strongly recommend. Get help, but try and do as much of it as you can yourself. Some universities will offer very creative degrees, so you might be working in studios and you might have access to very specialist equipment. So if you're studying art and design subjects, you may have some lectures around the history of that subject, but they probably want to get you making and get you developing a portfolio. A lot of universities don't want you just to know theory. They want you to get a job, so they want you to have skills. And if you are thinking about creative skills or science subjects where you're going to be spending lots of time in laboratories or using equipment, what equipment does the university have? That's a very important question to ask. So, when you're thinking about studying in the university, there are many, many different types of university, and not just universities. There are very small and very specialist schools, there are conservatoires, there are different types of place which offer degrees, not just full universities. And I'm going to talk more about UCAS, but there are hundreds of different options in the UK. There are more than 100 full universities, but when you think about all the other smaller institutions, usually very specialist, the number is more like 400 different options that you have. So do you want to study somewhere very big, somewhere very small, or maybe somewhere in the middle? St. Mary's is quite a small university for the UK. We have about 5,500 students, but some universities and very specialist colleges, they could be less than 2,000, even just a few hundred students. And then with the biggest universities in the UK, some of those are more like 40,000 students. And that can really affect your experience at university. Rankings can be an important tool to think about, what is a good university. But students ask, what is a good university? I want to go to the best university. That question is really up to you. What is the best university for you? Where are you going to have the best experience? And where are you going to get the best grades in the right degree for you to have a successful career afterwards? That's probably the most important question. And things can vary a lot. In two different universities, you could be doing exactly the same things in the lectures, in the seminars, and in your practical sessions. And it's everything you do outside of the classroom that is different. So typically, this is very general. This is just to start you thinking. So this does not answer questions about every university in the UK. But generally, smaller universities also have smaller class sizes. They can be more specialist, and the university might dedicate themselves more to certain subjects. But at big universities, you have a lot of choice. So again, if you're thinking about joint honors, you might find that bigger universities may be more flexible on that. Now, if you're worried about making friends, smaller universities, I mean, at St. Mary's, we still have over 1,000 new students every year. So we may have 1,000 new bachelor's degree students. So don't worry too much about the making friends part. You're still going to make friends at a smaller university. But at a bigger university, you are definitely going to have more choice. And that probably covers everything. Oh, sorry, I skipped ahead there. Now, do you want to study at a campus university or a city university? So look carefully at where the university teaches and what kind of environment that it offers. St. Mary's University is London, but we're not in the city centre. So we're a campus university. Some universities in the centre of London, you might find that they are in different buildings, which could be quite spread across the city. Some universities are one campus. Some may actually have more than one campus. Campus universities, usually it's designed for students, and it will include accommodation, teaching spaces, cafeterias, sports and recreation facilities all in one place. You could have a 5 or 10 minute walk to everything. But that's not necessarily all campuses. Your accommodation could be off campus, and it could involve some public transport to some other facilities in a different place, especially if it's more than one campus. So again, this is very general information just to get you to start thinking about what could be important. City universities, it's a bit similar to my last slide. They will usually give you the most choice. Now, it can be a bit more expensive to live in the center of a city. If you want cheaper accommodation, you might have to live a bit further out of the city, but you are going to have all of the facilities and all of the options right there on your doorstep. And you've really got to think about what is the best for you. For myself, I have lived, I've studied and worked at 3 different universities. They were all smaller campus universities. That's where I do my best, and that's where a lot of our students go to because they want that type of environment. If you want big city experiences, there are so many choices in the UK. So when you start to think about your applications, this year, European students will be applying through the UCAS website. What happens in future years, we're still waiting to see what happens. Now, if you're using the UCAS website, it's a very powerful tool to help you to apply to the UK. There's lots of information on there. Start early. You will probably get lots of support from your school and your tutors, and you can get additional support from universities and from external websites and sources as well. So this is what the information is like for this year. So when you're applying for UCAS, as I mentioned, there are almost 400 different institutions on that website that you can apply to for different types of degree programs. And UCAS is a great place to go for information as well. Always check what's on the university website, and there are many different university websites, many different websites that give you information about universities out there. Some are good at some things and some are better at others. My advice, research in different places. Use UCAS, use the university websites, and use other websites as well. And that will give you a really good idea of what the features are, what the costs are, and what entry requirements you're going to have. And then you can start to build up some of the other areas as well, such as cost of living, employability, social life, facilities. Now, UCAS is good because you only do one application form, but you will send that to 5 different choices. So you are locked into applying for 5 courses. And that could be 5 courses at the same university, 5 courses at different university. You could apply to just 1 or 2. How you use your 5 choices is up to you. If you're applying for certain subjects, such as medicine, veterinary science, and dentistry, then your choices do actually change, and there are different deadlines. So if you're going into more of a medical type degree, check things very carefully because the deadlines are earlier, usually months earlier, and you have fewer choices as well. And if you're thinking about applying to Oxford or Cambridge, at the moment, you can only apply to one of them. And I said your form goes to all of your different choices. We don't see who else you applied to, and also we don't care. We only assess your application as we receive it for our course. So if you've applied to another university that maybe we're a strong rival in that subject area, we won't see it, and also it doesn't matter to us. So that was a very quick overview of what it's like to study in the UK, and we're going to be answering more questions a bit later. But now I'm just going to tell you a very little bit about St. Mary's to give you a good idea of who we are, and touching upon some of that information that I just gave you. So we are small for the UK, about 5,500 students. We're a very diverse university. Last year, about 25% of our students came from outside of the UK and from about 90 different countries. We get a lot of students from Europe. Some of the biggest groups of students on campus are from Spain, Italy, France, Portugal, and we're seeing more and more students coming from countries such as Germany, Greece, Cyprus. We get a lot of students from the USA as well. And now we're starting to get more students from South America and from Asia as well. So quite diverse. But we tend to have a higher percentage of European students than some of the other big London universities where they might get more students from Asia. I think it's because we have always had strong links in certain countries in Western Europe, but I don't know all of the reasons. Some of them could be that we're a campus university that's very well connected to international airports. I mentioned we're not in the center of London. If you know London quite well, we're in Zone 5. So that's definitely not the city center. And you can see on this map here, the dark blue ring in the middle, that is the main part of the city. And you can see we're just outside that with that red dot there in the southwest of London. We're in a London borough called Richmond upon Thames. It's London's safest borough, and it is very close to major international airports such as Heathrow Airport. You can get there in just 30 minutes by bus. And I also travel a lot from Gatwick Airport, and that takes me about 60 minutes there on the train. And there's a train station very close to the university. It's about a 5-minute walk, and that will take you into London Waterloo Station in the center of London in about 35 minutes. One of the benefits of being a small university, we have a very good reputation for teaching. And we see very good results each year in surveys and responses from our students. So we get very high ratings for student satisfaction. And this year, we're actually top in London for teaching satisfaction and course satisfaction in the Guardian University Guide. We are a campus university, and we also have an excellent reputation for sport. We have Olympic level facilities, and our campus has been used by international teams when competing in London. And we were also voted top university for sport in London. And this is not the first year that we've had that award. So that's something that we're very well known for as well. Because we're small, we don't have a very big list of subjects. We think of ourselves as a modern university. So we are younger than some of the very big, very famous universities in the UK. And like a lot of the other modern universities, we focus a lot on jobs and careers. We have some very good research centers, but they are smaller and they are very specialist. So when people think, what are we famous for? Sometimes it's research in a certain area, but usually it's things like sport, it's things like our work placements, and our campus and our environment. That is why people have usually heard of us. But these are some of our most popular subjects. We do have a very popular drama school, and we teach very practical acting and theatre programs. Our business and communications and marketing programs have developed a lot over the last few years. We have quite a specialist but very successful law school at the university. And I mentioned sport. Even though we're small, we teach some of the most different options of sports programs that are available in the UK. So about 1 in 3 students at the university are studying something to do with sport and health. So if you have any other questions for me, I can answer some of those now, or I'm more than happy to speak to you after the presentation as well if you want to send me an email. Thank you very much, Margarita.
Thanks, Hyman. I think the presentation was really clear and very informative, so thank you so much. So we have a question from Sarah. So apart from UCAS and the university website, which other websites would you recommend for getting information?
That's a good question. I don't want to recommend just one website. There are very many websites out there, and they do get updated a lot, and they can change a lot. So if you type into Google and you start searching for different universities and different courses, you're going to find a lot of information. My top tip is don't use one of these websites, use many of them if you can. Sorry, I can't give you specific ones. It's just there's too much out there.
Yeah, I think I can because I can be less neutral in this situation.
Yes,
so,
I am trying to be neutral.
Yeah, so I think one of the most famous one is probably Study Portal, and it's probably one of the first results that actually come up. I'm not pushing this for like any reasons. It's just one of the most popular. And so as Simon was saying, and I 100% agree, I think if you check on more website, it's like the best option. But certainly this would come as one of the first results for sure. So they have programs for undergrad, grad, PhD, short-term programs. They kind of like list all the programs in a kind of passion man. I mean, I think it's pretty useful and user friendly. So if that helps, Sarah, hope we reply to your question. Please type in your questions. We are here to try to help you figure out your way. So one of the questions I would have if I were you, and this is a question I still ask myself, how do I know if this is for me? So, because I think asking yourself what's for me when you're 16 or 17 is even more difficult because you actually don't know. And it's fair. It's fair. You're not a failure. You're not like, it's okay not to know what it's for you. Okay. So just the only thing you can do is to research. Use the time you have because you are starting primero de bachillerato in September. So you still have 2 years to go before you start university. So I think my recommendation would be if schools have summer camps or if schools have universities, I mean, have open days or if they can arrange a visit for you, try to check them out in person or virtually because they also have like virtual tours. But just that, feel like in person, probably it's much better. Like when you're kind of like when you're making your way into that university, because I think the feeling you have when you walk into university kind of gives you like the perception you have helps you understand whether that place is for you or not. So Christina has another question. Is the UK a good country to study medicine?
That is a very interesting question. Now, St. Mary's does not offer medicine. We don't have a medical school. So if you want to study medicine in the UK, you will need to go to a school or institution which has a dedicated medicine department. Studying medicine is not the same as biomedical sciences. So that is the first thing that I would recommend. I mentioned the BMed Sci as a bachelor's degree that you will see. Check very carefully which degrees they offer. It should be very clearly signposted on their website if these are medical degrees. Yes, the UK is an excellent country in the world to study medicine, but I would say that about most of the countries in Europe as well. I think Europe is a world leader in teaching medicine. Studying medicine is very, very competitive. It is one of the hardest degrees to get onto in the UK, and I've heard that about other countries as well. If it is easier to get onto a medical course, if someone's offering some kind of course which is not what you first expected, always ask why. Now, is your degree going to be recognized in another country if you're going to live and work in another country? At the moment, all countries within the EU, professional degrees. So if I do a degree in business management, that's preparing me for a career in business management. But there are business leaders and CEOs who don't have business degrees. Or maybe they've done an MBA later, but their first degree could be in, say, computer science. Some people leave university to work full-time on their business. That's fantastic for them, but that's not everybody. That's not a professional degree. Some careers, you need certain qualifications or you can't do it at all. Medicine, if you want to practice psychology at a clinical level, accounting, for example, if it's a professional qualification, you do have to do your own research and check whether or not it will be recognized in the country you want to work in. If you want to study medicine in the UK and then live and work in the UK, fantastic. Brexit could change some of these. Because the UK will leave the EU, there will be less recognition that happens automatically. Some of these professional qualifications are very easily recognized now in other countries. There will usually be some paperwork to do. The language will be important. So if I wanted to work in, say, France or in Spain, it could be a requirement that I have a good enough knowledge of French and Spanish to work with the patients and people there. So check what their requirements are and if they will recognize your qualification from the UK. It's very easy now in certain subjects to take your qualifications across different countries in Europe, but when Britain leaves the EU, you could have more paperwork to do or more problems having your qualification registered in another country in Europe. And I'm really sorry that is the situation, but that's what we're having to deal with.
We won't blame you for that. Thanks for bringing this up, because I think it was exactly what I was trying to say when I was trying to find the word in Spanish and I couldn't. It was the word contador, that is accountant. So yeah, I mean, if you're like aiming to get a specific degree and your goal is to come back at some point, make sure that your degree is fully recognized. For example, psychology is another one. Like most countries have a national exam to take. So for example, you might get a degree, but then coming back or going back to your home country, then you need the degree is not enough. You need to take like an official national test. And same goes for medicine, for the residency. You know, you need to come back, like you need to like do something similar. So I hope this has been covered. And then what if I'm not doing an IB? So yeah. Good
question. Universities will subscribe to special services such as NARIC. Some students come to me and they ask me, do you recognize this qualification? Usually the answer is yes. If it's a common school qualification, the university will have people in our admissions department whose job it is to understand them, process them, and make sure that they're recognized so you can enter into the university. So we get many students who study A-levels and B-Techs, which are common in the UK, students who study IB, students who maybe combine them. So they might have some IB certificates and local qualifications as well. And I said over 25% of our students are coming from outside the UK, 90 different countries. That's potentially hundreds of different types of qualifications. So we have specialist people whose job it is to assess these. So yes, most universities in the UK will recognize your qualifications and they will try to compare them to the levels that they would normally get from UK students. So one thing to think about though, you may need to take an English language qualification to prove that you can keep up with the degree. Really, it would not be fair to for us to let you into the university if the English is going to be so advanced that you're going to struggle. And you may need to provide translations of your qualifications. So yes, we accept qualifications from hundreds of different countries. We can't speak those languages. So many universities will ask you to provide a certified translation. So unfortunately, you couldn't ask your friend or your teacher to translate them for you. It has to come from a company which has specially trained and registered to provide official translations.
It might just, Simon, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most of the students here will get a Spanish bachillerato. So I think just to say, at St. Mary, like most international students come from Spain, right? So like there's quite a big number, I would say, if I recall correctly. So you don't need to be like, you don't need to worry about this too much because they're used to, receiving students from Spain. So don't worry too much about it. And even the official translation, it's something very common nowadays. So it's not that you need to find like a specialist in the, in no one's land. I mean, it's going to be easy for you, and universities might help you find the person. So of course, not your mom, your dad, or your friends or your teachers can do it, but it's going to be easy to find somebody translating. Because nowadays, as I said, like, more than like 48,000 students went abroad a couple of years ago, and these are just the latest data. So it's not just you considering this.
And we publish full information on our website. We have one page which lists what we will accept from many different countries, including Spain. So you can see exactly what we ask for in the Bachelorado directly on our website. And it's the same for students from Italy, from France, from Romania. And some universities will actually accept your English grade in the Bachelorado as well. And St. Mary's does. So some of our Spanish students don't take extra English language qualifications.
Awesome.
But different universities will set different scores. Some will accept the English, some won't. And they may also ask for a score in a certain subject. So if you're thinking about medicine or the sciences, you will need very good grades in sciences. But if you're thinking about subjects, maybe law or business, they're looking at your total averages, and they just want to know that you have the right skills to keep up with the course.
Is that clear? Because I think this is very important and it's not very common in, I think, in Spanish or Italian institutions either. So if you're applying to a specific university, you need to, like, a specific career, a degree, you need to make sure that the grades for that career are, we're going back to the first question, is my profile good for that specific degree? So you need to make sure that, the two things match. And also there are other tests that might be required, like IELTS, TOEFL, or a Cambridge exam. This really varies from university, from one university to another. So make sure you know it in advance. So I take another question. So what is the price of the university? Do you offer a double degree at St. Mary's?
I mentioned single honors and joint honors. Double degrees are less common in the UK. So in the USA, you can do like double majors and things. They do exist in the UK. St. Mary's doesn't offer them. And I'm trying to think. I don't know many universities that do it. It really isn't common, but I do know it exists.
Daniel, question. Is dual degree, you meant like 2 degrees from 2 different universities, or like major and minors? I don't know if Danielle is still online with us.
But a joint honors.
Yeah, because you were saying like a joint honors, this is like certainly an option, or a major and minor, but also dual degree, double degree with other universities abroad means you get 2 titles from 2 different institutions, right?
We do, but as a master's level, not currently as an undergraduate level. I have seen them at an undergraduate level, so it is possible. It would usually take more than 3 years. So you've got to think about, is this going to add value to my career? By the way, I should say international experiences are very, very valued by employers. And what you do outside of the classroom can be just as important as what you do inside of the classroom. If you go to university, you work hard, and you come out with good grades, that's fantastic. But employers will also want to see, what else have you been doing? If you go to apply for a job and you have absolutely no experience, how are you going to show that employer that you're better than all the other people who've applied for that job? So getting work experience at university, getting international experience, and getting involved in clubs, societies, and having extra skills and experiences that you can talk about is really, really valuable. And I definitely know when I look at the data from employers in the UK, they love students with language skills, students who have tested themselves, had great experiences and opportunities. These students are more confident. They can bring a lot to that employer. So international experiences, really, really valuable.
Yeah. So thanks for this. And so Daniel is replying now. I'm interested in nutrition and physiotherapy. So I think it's the what you were mentioning. Basically, it's kind of 2 different paths at the same time. So it's not a dual degree. Like, be careful when you call it double degree, because double degree in higher education, internationalization in our world basically means that you take two degrees in two different universities at the same time. Let's say you're taking an undergrad degree in Spain, in a university in Spain that has an agreement with a university in the US. And undergrad degrees in the US are 4-year long. So basically, with 3 years here and 1 year there, you get 2 degrees, one in the US, one in Spain. So this means that you can actually enter a master level program in the US more easily. That's an example. Or you still have 2 titles, basically. So that's what a dual degree is. If you're talking, as you're talking about nutrition and physiotherapy, then it's going to be a joint program, as Simon was saying, or major and minor in the States.
Nutrition, you can take as a joint honors. So we will let you take it as you'll take some classes from nutrition and some classes from some other subjects, usually a science. Physiotherapy, you can't. Physiotherapy is a bit like medicine in that it is very, very strictly controlled. So students on physiotherapy have to do 1,000 clinic hours spread across year 2 and year 3 of their degree. So studying all of the anatomy, all of the clinical skills, and doing your placements, we can't let you take classes from another subject. It wouldn't be fair to the students. Now, some of our students will study maybe physiotherapy or sports rehabilitation as a bachelor's degree. And then they will think, I want to work for myself. I want to add the nutrition skills. So they may do a master's degree or an extra short qualification as well. We do a lot of specialist work in sports nutrition. So that is a very popular bachelor's degree and very popular master's degree. But we also offer short courses and certificates and diplomas as well. Lots of our sport and health students do end up setting up their own business and working for themselves. Not all of them. Some of them might go and work for big companies. You know, one of our nutrition students works at Marks and Spencer's. So she is the food scientist there, developing many of their recipes. But a lot of them do want to work with patients one-to-one. So that is an option. And we do teach a lot around clinical skills and behavior change. But you may need some extra qualifications outside of a normal bachelor's degree. And it is becoming more common.
Thanks. So we have 2 more questions. I know we've gone over like our time, but I think students should have extra minutes, if I recall correctly from what Professor said. So Beatriz, would you recommend studying in one city for the whole career or moving each year to different places? So if I can take this. It really depends on what you expect and how the university is structured, because there are universities that offer a multi-campuses experiences. So you have universities that have a campus in London, one in New York, another in Singapore, and so you can actually spend 1 year here, 1 year there, and then you can complete your degree kind of moving from a place to another. This is an option. You can also go to a country study, and as Simon was saying, most universities nowadays offer study programs, internships abroad, or dual degree that would allow you to spend a semester, 2 semesters, or a summer or a winter course abroad. So this is not really moving like every year to a different destination, but it's to some extent kind of having like a multi-international, if I can use this word, experience. So I would encourage you not to see your study abroad experience like as the end of your of the trip, let's say, but as a start of it. Let's say you want to study in the UK, and then you want to do like a semester abroad in China, and then you come back, you do another semester in Latin America, and then you do your internship in the US. This way you can actually build your career internationally without needing to actually move from a place to another, if this is not what you want, because it's like a lot of it's energy consuming. I mean, it's good, but it's also, you need to kind of balance pros and cons.
It could be expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive as well.
Yes. At St. Mary's, we will let you do 1 semester, sometimes a full year, at one of our partner universities, and we accept their credits. So it's not a dual degree. You're only doing some of your classes in that other country, but it is all recognized. So our idea, I guess our philosophy about studying abroad is we try and get every student to still graduate in 3 years. That's what our students really want the most. They want work placements, they want international experiences, but they don't want to graduate 1 or 2 years after their friends. So that's how we've designed our programs. But other universities may offer more flexibility, but there may be more time added onto your degree. But we do offer, as I mentioned, summer schools. So you could come and do 1 full year at St. Mary's and then maybe go to China for a summer school. In year 2, you could go study at an Erasmus university in Europe or go study at the USA. All of those classes will be recognized by St. Mary's. Then you could do another summer school, maybe South Korea or Australia. And then at the end of your 3rd year, one thing a lot of students don't realize is that the Erasmus organization, which is fantastic, offers a lot more options than just going for 1 semester. Erasmus will allow you to do visits and placements after you've graduated. You are still eligible for Erasmus funding. So Erasmus will give you money to have these experiences if you can prove to them like the value it's going to add to you. Most of our students who apply for Erasmus funding will get it. And it doesn't stop on the day you graduate. You can do placements, internships, and opportunities in that year. So after you've actually graduated from university. And lots of students don't know this.
That's true. So last question is, if I want to study in a different country apart from the UK, Daniela asks, where I can find info about them. So if I can reply to this. So as I said at the very beginning of the presentation, the student world, we organize online and offline events actually, and the plan for the past spring was actually to visit your school with a group of universities. This didn't happen, and we all know why. But we will organize a university fair for high schools in October. And if your school, as I hope, will join us, this is something I'll be discussing with your professor soon for sure. This is going to be a great opportunity for you to get exposed to a number of different universities you can actually talk to different representatives from all the, I don't want to say all the countries in the world, but it can be, a good number of countries represented. So this can certainly be a good option. There are a lot of, online events at this stage. I think this, having somebody that you already know probably helps. So this is something we'll be doing in the fall, and we will hopefully we'll be able to visit you in the spring next year. So I really hope that I can actually see you in person next spring with a group, like a number of universities that will join us from all over the world, really. So this can be like a good starting point. And this is why we're actually doing this, live sessions now to get you started, as Simon was saying. And there was something also that Simon was mentioning for when you'll be looking for a job. But actually, it's actually true also for when you apply to a university, how you sell yourself to the university. Because universities can be, getting accepted can be challenging and can be hard. So you need to prove them that you are the good candidate. So how do you do this? Certainly, having good grades help, but grades and a good level of English or a good level of the language required. But those two factors are not enough. So you will need to write a motivation letter to the university, and you will need to show what makes you special, what makes you unique. So you probably are asking to yourself, what makes me unique? How can I prove it? So all the activities you are doing now, any kind of activity like sports, you're playing piano, you're volunteering, you're any kind of activity, try to consider those activities as your way to the university. Because no universities expect you to have led a company, to be a CEO, to be a manager, because we all know that you're 18, 19 when you apply. So we all know you have no experience whatsoever, just to be very frank, in terms of like real working experience. What you can prove us is that you've been engaged and involved in different activities and you see the value of this. For example, playing football means that you are good at, you're good at team playing, so it means that you can actually work in team. So this means, this speaks a lot for you. This says a lot of things about you. Or I don't know, playing an instrument means dedication, passion, sacrifice, commitment. All these qualities that are super important to both universities and employers in the future are your keys to success. And this is why I shared with you the list of competencies that the World Economic Forum just published. Because it's not just about what you do, but the way you look at it. So this is super important, okay? So we don't expect you to be natural born leaders, because if I receive an email, like a letter, motivation letter, like I'm a natural born leader, honestly, this doesn't sound right. But if you can prove something, starting with your real activities, any kind of activity, this will convince me. Simon, if you want to add something, because this is very important when you apply to university.
Absolutely. If you're applying for a course, the first thing the university will look at are your grades. That is the first thing. The second thing they will look at is that motivational letter and that personal statement. Just getting the grades does not always get you a place on the course. If we have 100 places and we get 1,000 applications, those 1,000 applications could all have the same grades. So how do we decide who is a good fit for the course? Some courses may have a special feature. Creative and design courses may ask for a portfolio of work. Some courses may have an interview. Most courses in the UK now, like an average bachelor's degree, don't have these things. So they're looking at your grades first, then that personal statement. When I read personal statements, I do them pretty much in one go. I may have a pile of them in front of me. It could be 100, 200. And I'm not going to spend half an hour reading it very, very carefully. I have a highlighter pen in my hand and I'm going through it and I'm quickly highlighting the things that student is saying about themselves that link to the course. And if I had to say like the top qualities that universities are looking for generally, we're looking for people who are curious, who are independent, and who can show that they are generally hardworking. I have seen tutors interview students maybe for a scholarship and say, that student's fantastic, I'm going to give them a scholarship. Their knowledge of the subject was terrible. They don't care. They're bringing you in to teach you. They want to see that you're going to be a good student and you're going to listen to what you're being told and then go away and use that information. You're going to pick it up and run with it. You're going to do your own research. They want students who are really intellectually curious. To give you an example for law schools, they're looking for students who don't just watch TV and movies and think, wow, law is a really great career because what the media is showing me. They want students who can show that they're good because of what they've done outside of the classroom. So show that you're curious about the subject. Don't be afraid to say what things you're most interested in and what you're looking forward to learning, different features of the course. Universities will look at you as a whole individual. And all of those experiences, what you've been doing, music, sport, international travel, this shows that you're a really well-rounded person, that you're curious, that you like challenges, that you want to succeed. That's what we're looking for.
Thanks. So let me see if there are any other questions. I don't see other questions for now. So I just want to let you know that the recording of this presentation will be sent. The presentation can be also sent. We will certainly reach out to you. So Simon will certainly send a follow-up email. So if you need more information about the UK system or his university, then I'd be happy to help. And I really hope I can reconnect again soon in the future, online and in person at some point. So, and thank you all for being online with us today. I want to thank again Professor Tomás Martín por dejarnos estar aquí con ustedes. And so I wish you a great day and a great rest of the week, and good luck with your future.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Ciao.